Hey guys, some late breaking news for those of you who have recently purchased a 2025 Ioniq 5 in the US. Hyundai just issued a recall due to the potential for a battery fire. I just briefly reviewed some of the documentation to kind of get a gist of what is happening, but let's take a look at them together and talk about it. This only applies to US-built Ioniq 5s, which are only sold in the US. So anybody else with a 2025 Ioniq 5 outside of the US, you don't have to worry about this. So before we move any further, you're going to need to identify whether you have a car in question. So I will leave a link in the description to a tool where you can enter your VIN to find out if it is part of this recall. And then if you are part of this recall, you're going to want to follow what I'm about to go over next. Okay, so this recall was submitted on July 23rd to the U.S. Department of Transportation. So here you can say it says estimated percentage with defect 10%. And that is going to be vehicles built basically in a 24-hour period at the Georgia Meta plant. So it says produced between June 12th and June 13th of 2025. Now they're saying here number of potentially involved 10. I don't know if that's supposed to have a percentage symbol after it. So scrolling down more, a description of the defect. The battery system assembly, or BSA, equipped in the subject vehicles might contain a high voltage bus bar that was installed with insufficiently tightened retention bolts during supplier assembly. So the safety risk, insufficiently tightened bus bar retention bolts could gradually loosen over time and induce electrical arcing inside the high voltage battery pack, potentially increasing the risk of an electrical fire. Additionally, loose high voltage battery pack connections could trigger a voltage sensor error, causing the vehicle to enter a fail-safe mode with limited drivability. Description of the cause. The torque tool controller failed during assembly and the torqued connections were not properly confirmed by the PLC programmable logic controller during the tightening process of both BSA assembly lines. So here is some chronology. In June 2025, according to the supplier, on June 18th, the BSA quality assurance team became aware of the subject defect condition during a routine inspection of end-of-line units. Interim countermeasures were implemented and an internal audit of outgoing inventory was performed to identify units with suspect torque tightening. On July 10th, 2025, they informed NASA of Mobis's findings, noting that 11 units at Mobis and 58 units received by Hyundai were identified with the subject defect condition. All identified units were retightened to the correct torque specification. NASA initiated an investigation into U.S. market trends to identify potential flow-out to dealers on July 11th, 2025. After confirmation of U.S. market field information, NASA convened in North American Safety Decision Authority on July 16th and decided to conduct a safety recall of all affected model year 2025 Hyundai Ioniq 5 vehicles in the U.S. As of date of filing, Hyundai has not received any reports of incidents involving crashes, fires, or fatalities from affected vehicles in the U.S. market. So it sounds like it all stemmed from that little tool they use for torquing down bolts, just wasn't operating properly. Owners can continue driving these vehicles. However, Hyundai recommends parking their vehicles outside and away from structures until the recall remedy is completed. All owners will be notified by first-class mail with instructions to bring their vehicle to a Hyundai dealer for inspection of the BSA bus bar and retightening of the retention bolts as necessary. This remedy will be offered at no cost to owners. Hyundai will provide owners of affected vehicles reimbursement for out-of-pocket expenses incurred to obtain a remedy for the recall condition. So how are they going to prevent this in the future? The PLC programming logic control was improved to include torque tool operating signal feedback and associated flagging upon detection of a tightening abnormality. This software revision was implemented as a production running change from June 18th through June 19th. Additionally, enhanced routine inspection frequency and criteria were adopted as new standard work on June 18th of 2025. Scrolling down to the bottom here, owners will be notified via certified mail by the specified dates, September 20th, 2025. So that's still almost 2 months away. So I would advise you to look into this sooner. So make sure you search that VIN. They say the date when VIN will be searchable is July 25th, 2025. So if you use that tool, it should show up. And then you can know you are affected and park your car outside. So if you're somebody who's purchased a 2025 Ioniq 5, let's say in the last 30 days, you're probably going to want to check your VIN. If it was over 30 days ago, there's no chance that your car would have been from this production run. If it was within the last 30 days, there's a good chance it might have been affected. Let me know down in the comment section if you are affected and if you've had any issues with your car since you got it. So this is pretty concerning, and I hope that no fires happen because of this and nobody gets injured or anything. That would be truly tragic. But just make sure you check your car's VIN. Make sure you're playing it safe. If you are affected, please, please, please park your car outside. I do not want to hear about houses burning down because of this. So I just wanted to get this information out to you guys ASAP. Again, let me know down in the comment section if you are affected. So anyway, guys, I will see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.